There we go. Okay. Hello, my name is Johnny, and I'm the guy that's going to tell you something before you start speaking. So if you're going into 9th through 11th grade, I want you to raise your hand. And I want you to raise your other hand. And I want you to plug your ears, because this announcement is not for you, okay? So, I'm here, sorry about that. I'm here to talk to you about the LEAD program. If you are going into your senior year, or if you're going into college, also known as 13th grade, this announcement is for you. So let me get a show of hands. Who's in that category? All right, you're committed to the LEAD program. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. So this announcement is for you. If you have ever thought of yourself as a leader, or if other people have ever said, hey, you have leadership qualities, I think you should really pay attention to what I'm about to say. So the LEAD program is designed for people who either have some sort of natural affinity to lead, and we as believers, we all should lead. We all should lead in every capacity in our lives. But if you especially want to see a behind-the-scenes look at Crossings, if you want to see what it's like to be a staffer here, if you want to have your questions answered and all that, come meet us at lunch. We'll have a table by the bathroom. It's not exactly prime real estate for lunch, but we will be there. We'll have a big sign that says LEAD. And this is not a binding agreement by any means. I mean, you can come to lunch, realize that we're a bunch of jokes, and then just not come the rest of the week. It's fine. Like, I can take rejection. It's okay. My small group's actually roasting me later on this morning, so it'll be cool. But I just want to talk to the men really quick before I stop talking. So if you raise your hand, and if you're a man, I really want you to listen to this, because every week we do this program, right? Every week we do this, and I feel like the ratio is always like 8 girls to 1 guy. And me as a man, that's kind of embarrassing, right? I mean, in the Bible it says that men are supposed to be leaders, and here I look at your generation, and it's almost like that's just not the case at all. I mean, ladies, you're doing a great job. I mean, you're stepping up. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And a lot of you are doing what you're supposed to be doing because the guys just simply aren't. And so if you're a guy, like, take offense to it, Show up at 12, prove me wrong. I would love that. But right now, what I see in our generation is that guys more often are swayed by culture, and they're just going, just like being tossed around like a wave, And so I would just challenge you to come to lunch and just see what it's like. If you don't like it, you don't have to come, like I said. But I would just challenge, especially the guys, really think about this. Is this something that God is asking you to do? Is this something that you'd be interested in? And if either of the answer to those questions is yes, just come eat lunch with us by the bathroom at 12. I promise it's not actually like right next to the bathroom. It's just close. Okay, I'm done.
Woo! Stage lights up. All right, good morning. Who's going to fall asleep in here? You're halfway gone. I'm just going to tell you something now about what I do with people that fall asleep. I will stop right in the middle of what I'm saying, and I will draw everyone's attention to your face and what you look like when you sleep, all right? So if you fall asleep, everybody's going to know what it looks like when your mouth is gaping open and stuff is coming out right here. Yeah, we're just going to do it. All right. How was everybody's first day? Good. Excellent. Well, it only gets better from here. Last night, how were your group times? Yeah, man, fantastic group time. I've talked to a couple of your leaders about how you guys answered the questions last night, and just want you to know you're totally wrong. So we're going to clear that up in Bible study over this week. No, I'm kidding. You did a great job. If you got your Bible, morning Bible studies, you can open up to John chapter 4. We'll be in some other scriptures as well, but primarily in John chapter 4. If you don't have a Bible, like if you don't even own one, you need to tell your group leader, because we want you to have one. And I'm sure that your youth minister would love to put a Bible in your hand if you don't have one. And I bet in the lost and found there are probably 66 gajillion Bibles, and we could find you one. If you ask several people and nobody will give you a Bible, come and tell me, and I'll complain to the staff, and they'll make sure that you get a Bible, okay? So, wow, is that rain? Man, my golf cart seat's going to be incredibly wet. That's going to be awesome. All right, so if you've got your Bibles in John chapter 4, we will get there in a minute. Also, you should have your little book. Hey, they're coming for us. You should have your little identity book. Looks just like this, and on page 4, you'll find the stuff for this morning. All right, today we're talking about the crisis of identity. The crisis of identity. So we talked a little bit about this last night. One of the biggest challenges that you guys have as teenagers is figuring out who you are. The truth is, this is not just a challenge that teenagers have, that this is across the board. And really in every age, and especially in every life change, people end up defining themselves by something different. And so sometimes you'll have 65-year-old men and women that retire, and they stop doing their job after 65 years. And because they define themselves by their job, at 65, they're having an identity crisis. You know, you guys maybe have heard of a midlife crisis. And a lot of men and women go through a midlife crisis where they thought that their life was going to be about something when they were 22, and it panned out to be something totally different. You know, the dude is there changing diapers and and he's looking at, man, I thought I was going to change the world, and here I am, and I've just got I've got a desk job, and I'm changing diapers in the evening, and then they think they'll solve it by going out and buying a Corvette, all right? So it's not just you guys. This is something that people struggle with at every age and every life stage, is figuring out the question, who am I? Who are you? And there's lots of ways that we try to answer that question. Who are you? All right? To get you guys involved, somebody tell me a way that we answer that question, who am I? Anybody, just raise your hand or yell it out really loud. I don't care. Say it really loud because it's raining. And the aliens are coming at the same time. Tell me if I need to do something different, Thomas. Your personality, yeah. People try to answer that question with you. That's not your blank, all right? I'll give you the blanks. He didn't know what it was. All right, so that is a way, right? Your personality. People say, I'm funny or whatever. Your personality. What's another way? Your friends, yeah. That's blank number 2, your social connections. Look at that. Hey, look, whatever you do, don't just come to fill in blanks, okay? I'll give you the blanks, but don't freak out if you don't get them. But that is the second one on here, your social connections, your friends. We talked about last night on your phone. Right? One of the reasons why we check our phones all the time is because we want to know that people still think that we're there and we're important. And so we're always checking email, or we're always checking text message, or we're always checking Snapchat. Like, what happens if you're always texting with somebody and nobody texts you for like 2 days? You feel disconnected, right? You feel like, oh my gosh, does anybody know I exist? What happened? People don't love me anymore. So social connections, it's good. What else? Yeah, your reputation based on your actions. So you could say that's activity. That's your third blank. Actually, social connections is second blank. Activity is third blank. So, yeah, your reputation's based on your actions, your activity, what you do. You know what? I'm an athlete. I'm on the baseball team. Or you know what? I'm a really good student, and so I make straight A's, and that's how I define myself. And that's your primary identity. Again, all you got to know is look at your profile pic and look what you post about all the time. How about this? How about your heritage? That's the first blank. Your heritage. That means where you come from, right? What your family is, what your culture is, what your race is. You know, your heritage. Where were you born? What city are you from? People identify all the time with their cities. You know, we got this deal where we define each other by our area codes or by our zip codes. You know, I'm from the 919 or the 615 or whatever. You know, it's our heritage. It's where you grew up, where you're from. It's what your family is, what your last name is sometimes. your heritage. That's the first one. We talked about social connections. We talked about activity. Another way that we define ourselves and our identity, we get our identity from, is from our achievements, right? We like to rack up trophies, because if we have enough trophies, it proves that we're a good athlete, right? Or as you go on in life and you get into a career, sometimes we like to make our identity on how much money we make, because that proves that we're good at what we do, and that proves that we're valuable, and whatever we find value in, we find our identity in. When you grow up, you have kids. A lot of people get in this trap of defining themselves by being a good parent. I'm a good parent. I'm a good parent. I want to make sure I'm a good parent. I want to make sure I'm a good parent. You know, look at what my kids are doing. That means I'm a good parent. Look at what my kids are doing. That's 90% of the Facebook posts of parents, right? Me included. Or sometimes our achievements, being known by that, we want to be known as a morally upright person, all right? We want to be known as a religious person, and so we do all the signs of religion, and, you know, you get a cross, and then you get to college, and you get a tattoo in Hebrew, and then you realize that was a mistake, and you go, right? And you go through life trying to show people you're a good person or you're a religious person. Some people do the opposite. Some people try to define themselves by rebellion. Like, you know what I'm going to do during this talk? While this guy's talking, I'm going to do my thing in the back, you know. I'm going to be back here like this. I don't see anybody back there like that, but, you know, I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to stand out from the crowd. And when everybody else is trying to listen to the dude talk, man, I'm going to sit back here slumped in my chair and go to sleep. Except you're not doing it now, which is awesome. I'm kidding. I'm not calling you out. You're on it, man, paying attention. But we do that all the time. We rebel. We say, I want to stand out from the crowd. I want to be different. I want to do something different than everybody else. And so we rebel. I'm going to be a bad kid. People find their identity in all kinds of different things. And for a lot of people, it's a crisis. And you end up having these things that I call mirror moments. All right? I'll call these things mirror moments. Mirror moments are when you realize that whatever identity that you built your life on, whatever you decided to define yourself on, you wake up early in the morning or you're late at night and you're standing at your bathroom mirror and you're looking at yourself and you ask yourself this question: who am I? You start to realize whatever it is that I built my life on, or whatever reputation I built my life on, or my social connections or my heritage, it's all falling apart from me. So what am I supposed to do? And we ask these questions. You know, these are identity crisis kinds of questions. Who am I supposed to be? Which group am I supposed to be a part of? You know, how do I think through my sexuality? Right? How do other people look at me? What gifts and abilities do I have to offer people? What am I supposed to end up doing with my life? I have no idea. What type of person am I supposed to share my life with in the future? Right? Those are heavy questions. But there's an even darker side of an identity crisis. You know, there's research that indicates that American teenagers have a slightly higher suicide rate than many other teenagers in other countries. And see, we are the most developed and technologically sophisticated culture on the planet, but it's also a planet where teenagers so don't know who they are that they decide to eliminate who they are, kill themselves. You know, it's typical among teenagers to not see a connection also between who they are and how they behave. For example, take this for example, 2008, 30,000 students at 100 randomly selected high schools nationwide were surveyed about their ethical practices. All right, now listen to some of these stats. 64% of those 30,000 students, 64% of them said that they had cheated on a test in the past year. All right, 30% of those students said that they had stolen from a store. 42%, all right, so we're talking about almost 15,000 high school students. 42% said that they would lie to save money. 83% of those 30,000 students said they had lied to their parents about something that they deemed significant. Despite this, those numbers, which a lot of those are clearly unethical practices, immoral. But despite this, 93% of all of those 30,000 students said that they were satisfied with their personal ethics and their character. And 77% of those students said, I am better than most people I know. You see, we don't even see ourselves rightly. Like we look at ourselves and we disconnect the behaviors we have, the way that we act, the way that we carry out what we say we believe from who we actually are. And so you got people who lie and cheat and steal who call themselves morally superior to everybody else. I mean, we're deluded. We're very confused about who we are, and that's why we end up having, main point number 2, an identity crisis. We end up having an identity crisis. This is not